So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So before we get started into this long discussion, I wanted to show you guys this hair from my sponsor, Nadula Hair. They sent me 4 bundles and a closure of their deep wave hair, and I love it. I love the texture. It's really bouncy, very pretty, very defined. I also received a closure, and the closure did not come bleached, but it was a 3-part closure with some pre-plucked knots. So go ahead and get your mannequin head, and we're going to begin to make our wig. So you're going to need a spandex dome style wig cap. These ones are very stretchy, very breathable, very movable, and go ahead and place that onto your mannequin head. Apply it so that you can make sure it's nice and snug and fits the way how you want. And when it comes to bleaching the knots in the closure, you're going to use some BW2 bleaching powder. Pour that into a bowl, as well as your Kaleigh colors and blue toning powder, and then you're going to top it off with your developer, preferably a cream developer, and I like to use the 40 or 30 volume. Stir that together and mix it up, and you're going to apply that to the back part of your lace closure. Go ahead and take a piece of aluminum foil and stick that on there and let it sit for about 20-25 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and begin sewing. So I always start on the side because it makes the hair a lot more fuller. It just fills out the side of the hair so that the volume is not just in the back but all the way around. So I double sew the first 2 bundles and single sew the second 2 bundles. And as I'm doing that, the closure is bleaching. So I take some neutralizing shampoo and I apply that to the lace closure, and I just wash it out thoroughly so I can go ahead and make the full wig. So this is what the wig looked like after I was done. And yes, the knots are bleached. So we're going to remove the excess lace at the front of the closure, and I'm just starting from the side, and I'm kind of following like the little dips. That way I can sit flawlessly on my head. And I just like to do this with a razor and not scissors, because scissors does leave a line of demarcation and it makes it a little bit more bulky. So I just take a little bit of tweezers, but I really didn't need to tweeze. This is how the closure parting was. So I was really impressed by that as well. And that is pretty much what the wig looks like. So I'm just going to be putting on the wig, always starting from the back. If you want some extra security, you can sew in some clips or some combs or something like that. And obviously it's not going to look like this right off the bat. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, so don't say anything about my wig sliding back in this video, because I did not secure the wig. I didn't even put on my elastic band. It was really late at night and I really needed to film and I couldn't see. But as you can see, if I did put the wig down, it does blend seamlessly into my front hairline area. So it was really pretty wig. I love the way how it looks. Definitely think it compliments me, and I love the style. This is my favorite style, is having some voluminous hair, nice little deep part in the center, and just letting it sit down with the nice pop and waves. So what do you guys think? If you guys want to check out this hair, I will have all the links in the description box down below. Again, this is from Nadula Hair, and let's get right into this video. Hi guys, I'm back with another video. So today's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video.
Nigga, pay attention.
So yes, I am back with another video. Woo, okay. Before we get started, you guys know how I feel about this topic. You guys know the things I've said about this topic. And I just want to take a nice deep breath to calm the mood. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to be angry, aggressive, and all the mean things that a lot of people like to say about me and all the things that you guys like to accuse me of. So I just want to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Okay, let's set the mood. So as you guys can see from this title, it is Mixed Pageant Winners Are Black Girl Magic? Question mark. We are really going to dive deep into this topic, okay? Go get yourself a snack. Go get your Uber Eats. Wait, pause the video, because I'm probably going to talk your head off. So if you don't want to hear that, please exit out right now. If you're going to disagree with me and be disrespectful, I don't care if you disagree with me, but if you're going to disagree with me and be disrespectful, just leave right now, because you're going to get blocked, okay? Period. So this topic stems from the recent post that was on the Shade Room and many other websites, and it basically is showcasing the 3 pageant winners of Miss Teen USA, Miss America, and Miss USA. Of these 3 winners, you guys can see that we definitely have colored women. And it made headlines just due to the fact that this is the first time ever that there were non-white winners in all 3 of these pageants. I want to shout out to Paris Milan, and I want to shout out to Cresty, because I feel like these are 2 women on YouTube who really are the epitome of common sense through black issues involving color, colorism, texturism, any isms that have to deal with black women, period. Okay? They really inspire me to keep making videos. With that being said, because this conversation is about colorism colorism. It's about race and the things of that nature. I always call myself the trigger. Okay, I'm Queen Chioma Trigger Boy. Always coming through with the shots. So if you're going to be triggered, please exit my video. If you're going to bash me for speaking on facts, please exit my video. If you are here to tell me mixed people are black, please exit my video. I need y'all, I already said it, but I need y'all to grab a snack and come on back in my Wendy Williams voice, because we're really going to dive into this topic. I don't know why we cannot have a conversation about colorism or about just anything race related without people misconstruing what you're saying as hate, negativity, offense, whatever it may be. So I just wanted to make it clear that I would like to congratulate all 3 of the winners of each of these pageants. I feel they're well deserving, great role models, definitely women of essence, women of power, women of elegance, women of intellect that really deserve to win each of these respective titles. I want to congratulate Kayleigh Garris for winning Miss Teen USA, Cheslie Kryst for winning Miss USA, and Nia Franklin for winning Miss America back in September of 2018. Congrats to you ladies, and it was very well deserving. Just as a backstory, I wrote about this on Instagram right when this all came out because I kept seeing it getting reposted and reposted, and so many people kept reposting, and I was just like, I hate to be that one, but I only see one black woman. Granted, the other 2 girls can pass as black, maybe, and there are black women who look like the other 2 girls, but when you look into their genetical makeup, they are mixed race women. And I'm going to get into a lot of that as to why I feel like this was not necessarily a win for the collective of black women, but a win for colored girls, period. There's things about them like, most black women kind of don't have those features, but if I was not told, I can understand them passing as black women. But black passing doesn't always mean black. I would also like to point before we start that mixed is not a race, but you can be a person of mixed race. Just to clarify that. A lot of you are way too caught up on the physicality, and it just creates this illusion of inclusion. And we are going to dissect that now. I have broken my video into 10. Yes, 10. This is a record for this channel. 10 talking points. So let's get right into this video. Point number 1. Mixed people are not black. I know somebody's triggered. You guys are Xing out. You are hitting the thumbs down. You're doing something. Mixed people are not black. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Mixed people are not black. Drops mic. Black people, especially black women, need, and I mean need, to stop trying to say women who are made from sperm or egg of a white parent and a black parent are black. It doesn't make any sense. If I take a red piece of clay and a blue piece of clay and I mix it together, what do I get? Purple, or a shade of purple. Now, there's ways that I can take those same red and blue, and it might come out more red, might come out more blue, might come out purple. But you cannot call that new piece of purple, that new shade of either 2, one or the other. It is a mixture of both. Like some of you guys have dogs. When your dog is a Labrador Retriever and it's a poodle, you don't put it together and call it a poodle. It's now a Labradoodle. Okay? Not saying that humans are dogs, but it's just the same freaking concept. I guess what I don't understand is, why do we have so much outrage when we are underrepresented, when we are considering anything of color as black? I will never understand. When Jennifer Lopez was placed as the person who did the tribute to Motown, why wouldn't they do something like that? When you guys are going to include everybody who has a smidget of color in them as black, why wouldn't the white people put J-Lo as the tribute? Why wouldn't they make her the face of that? You guys are the ones that consider Cardi B black, and you see why it confuses people when you try to include everybody in you when they are not. You guys are trying to include non-black people into your spaces and then wonder why you are unrepresented as black women. When you sit here and you shun yourself, you talk down on yourself, you put yourself under to uplift the girl who, yes, maybe her genetical composition is of a black parent, okay, but her other composition is of a white parent. When you do that, you are simply saying that you are not good enough, or your black is not pretty enough unless it's mixed with something other than black, putting that on a pedestal, fitting it up there for you to see, and then you wonder why you're underrepresented or misrepresented at that. And I'm not by any means saying that mixed women, mixed people, period, are undesirable, unattractive, or don't belong to be in black spaces. But when you're gonna place them on a pedestal like people are doing now, do not be surprised when you are underrepresented or misrepresented. Also, just because I say that mixed people are not black, I am saying that they are black and they are white. That does not mean I'm hating on you. That doesn't mean that I don't like you. That doesn't mean that I don't want to be friends with you. That doesn't mean that I'm jealous. It's just a simple fact of science. Like, it's not because, oh, well, they look more black, so identify as black, or they identify more with their black side. It's not because of that. It's because of science. Genetical composition, biological composition shows that you came from parents of two separate races, period. Doesn't make me a hater, doesn't make me jealous, and I hate when people try to say that that's what I'm trying to do, because I mean, why would I hate on the next person? For what? Point number 2, the one drop rule is racist, and any black person that uses one drop rule to justify why a mixed person is black is racist. Period. And I know I'm triggering you guys, but I'm gonna get to my point. Honestly, with that logic, let us bring back the brown paper bag test, because that was used, if you didn't know, here's a little history lesson, that was used to determine the lighter slaves, the darker slaves, the lighter slaves with better treatment, the darker slaves with worse treatment. If you're going to one drop rule somebody, which I believe is very racist, something that the white man created to oppress, marginalize, and create conflict within our race, how dare you sit up here and call yourself pro-black, but then still be doing the one drop rule? Do you guys not realize that is the white man's tactic to shun them away from what made them, 50% of what made them? So you as a black person saying, oh, one drop rule, one drop of black, you're black. That's what the white man made up. So let's bring back the brown paper bag test with that same logic, okay? What we're gonna do, we're gonna line up every black person. If you are lighter than this brown paper bag, okay, light skin over here, good treatment. If you're darker, dark skin over here, bad treatment. Same logic. Someone really tried to accuse me of creating a divide between our race when I said this, but the one drop rule that a lot of you guys are trying to live by is a divide on itself. If acknowledging, promoting, and allowing mixed people to basically claim both sides of what made them, black and white, is a divide, then call me the damn divider, okay? I want to be the divider. I want to be the divider. If letting a mixed race person acknowledge and basically claim black and white as what made them is causing a divide, call me the divider. What really causes divide is when you're telling somebody who has a white parent 50% of what contributed to their genetical makeup and who they are as a person, so that they can only be of one other race because it's better for you, it promotes you, it's a better look for you, and you want to identify as that because you're not happy with yourself as a black person and you think this is a better look for you. That is what causes a divide. That is what causes confusion. Point number 3. Why can't mixed people be both? Why is it that black people have to tell mixed race people that they can only be one thing? They are black just because it fits with what you think black is. And I understand black can come in any damn shade. I completely understand. Someone's gonna have that argument. I already know that. But I will not sit up here and negate genetics. I'm not gonna do that. Logic, the rapper, is a mixed race man. Looking at him, he is completely white passing. You would never for 1 second think that he is anything probably other than white. But come to find out, he has a white mother and a black dad. So with y'all's logic, right, since all mixed people are black, right, this is a black man to you? I mean, make it make sense. Is this a black man to you? Oh, I thought so. How could you tell a mixed race person that they can only pick one side of them just because they may or may not look more like you? How does that sound as a black person? I think that is really offensive, because sitting here and saying, well, you're black, is basically to me like saying, oh, well, you only have one choice, only one side to identify, basically neglect the other side, what created you, all because you look more like me or you have some color to you. There's a difference between colored women, colored people, and black people, okay? There's so many people that can be considered colored. They are white and black, not just black, period. It's okay for a lot of you black people to claim that you have Cherokee Indian in you and all these random things that I hear a lot of black people say, oh, I have some Indian in me. But it's not okay for a mixed race person to be black and white. It's not okay. They can't be both. We'll sip on that tea. I learned something new. It sounds crazy. And the crazy part is I hear that so many times. I hear so many black people say, oh, well, yeah, I have some Native American in me. Like, I have a little bit of that. So it's okay for you to have that Native American in you, which is not African descent, which is not Caucasian descent, but it's not okay for a mixed race person to acknowledge that they are black and white by your standard. I don't understand how selfish a lot of black people can be to a demographic of people who I am sure has struggled with identity. Why can't they be both? Why can't they be who they are, which is mixed race? I don't get it. Point number 4, genetics and biology. Now, this is a part that I just really wanted to talk about, because there is no negating genetics and or biology. There's no trying to over justify or under justify it. There's just no such thing. You're not going to compete with the genetics of somebody. You just won't, okay? okay? DNA does not lie. Yes, I can understand that genetics is a roll of the dice. I completely understand that. And once again, I can also acknowledge that black comes in a variation of shades, variations of colors, but you cannot dismiss genetics and the biology of somebody's composition. You cannot and you will not. Also, I wish black people would stop acting, people period, but I wish black people in particular would stop acting like there is not a typical, average, or shall I say phenotypical look to certain people. Stop acting like that does not exist. I can acknowledge that black people come in so many different shades, but you're not about to sit up here and act like there is not a mixed look. We all know that there is like a mixed or racially ambiguous look. We know what that looks like. We're not going to dismiss that. We're not going to act like mixed people don't have certain common features and black people don't have certain common features. We're not going to act like that. Most black women do not have the looser textured curly hair. Most black women do not have the fair, very fair or lighter skin. Most black women do not have the slimmer noses. Like, let's just be real with ourselves. I heard so many people just saying, well, they look black and a white person is going to see them as black, so that makes them black. Absolutely not. How are you going to tell them to neglect half of what they are? Number 5. Kayleigh does not identify with her black side. This was really the girl that most people were kind of like, oh, well, she definitely is a black woman. Like, this was the girl who everybody kind of had more to say versus the other girl, Cheslie. I want you guys to look at this girl's IG page, and I really want you guys to look thoroughly and through. And all through her IG page, I really do not see not one black person on there, or let alone a black person with the phenotypically black features, let alone the black person that looks like me sitting right here in front of this camera. And I'm not saying that, oh, that she doesn't have a black side, but you can see she goes to a white high school. She has white friends. Any other time I see a black person on this girl's page, it's really because she's in a pageant or doing something outside of like her normal everyday life. Honestly, with her hair straightened, this is not black passing to me. With her hair straightened, I think she looks more of like her racially ambiguous self, or even just a lighter, whiter passing person. With her hair straightened, she doesn't look like your average phenotypically black woman, and you guys can't tell me that she does, okay? She doesn't. I personally feel like she intentionally tried to appeal to like the whole black trend, because being black low-key is a trend now, same way being African is kind of a trend now, and really tried to relate to the black community when she had her like full gown during the actual event, just because that's honestly what is in right now. Also, let's not forget the amount of spray tan, bronzer, and makeup that she was wearing on that stage, because what she looked like standing up on the stage looking very, very radiant, she looked great, okay, looking very, very radiant, is not what she looks like in most of her Instagram pictures. And a lot of y'all just fell for it, you da-da-das. I also want to point out that when Kayleigh did a video, she clearly stated that she is biracial.
All these influencers that I look up to on social media, now I'm getting messages from moms of biracial kids and kids themselves that are biracial and that are scared to wear their hair naturally, and them saying that
she clearly stated it. So for you guys to still be sitting up here and trying to consider her a black woman when she told you herself out of the horse's mouth that she is biracial, still baffles the hell out of me. You guys literally tried to tell a girl what she was, tried to tell a girl what she has to be, when she herself knows exactly who she is, and she admitted that when she was younger, all she wanted to do was look like her mom, straighten her hair, basically be white passing, because that is the influence that she had. It wasn't until her dad and her grandmother on her dad's side basically helped her embrace her African American side. So how can you sit up here and tell a girl who, one, says she's biracial, and two, admits to identifying with her whiter side that she's black when she don't even identify, because we're gonna get into that. She doesn't identify with that side, let alone all of you that were in the comments defending this. How stupid do you look now? You see why you have to be hyper specific with certain people? Because you just never know. Number 6, I would like for black people to stop praising the features of people who may not look like you and are not biologically made like you. You are eradicating aspects of your beauty and basically camouflaging it with these socially acceptable features, and then wondering why you were at the bottom of the totem pole, and then wondering why black men won't elevate you. And I'm talking about the phenotypically black women. How can you sit up here and praise the features that you don't have, that many mixed or racially ambiguous women may have, such as the looser curly hair? Most black women are not going to have the 3A, 3B. Most black women are just not going to have that hair. The slimmer noses, thinner lips, the lighter skin. How can you sit here and praise these features and put them on a pedestal, and then wonder why your own black men are sitting here shitting on you and promoting girls outside of your race, or maybe girls that are just the exception or the most socially acceptable, and then wonder why you are being put on when you yourself are considering everybody with a drop of black in them black? And then you wonder why. And then you wonder why. And then you wonder why. You You wonder why, oh. You see it? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Yes, still put that beauty on a pedestal, still put that to a standard, still hold that up there, but also put yourself up too. Like, it's nothing wrong with putting yourself up there as well and admiring yourself. Point number 7. This is still a win, period. This is a win for colored girls, no matter what. I'm not gonna sit here and be negative about it, and I'm still gonna put the positive aspect that this is a win for colored girls. My issue is not and never has been with them winning. I'm happy that they won. My issue is with black news outlets and black people advertising this as a win for black women, but then at the same time being hypocrites about it. This is the same thing that you guys did when you guys made Meghan Markle the black princess, knowing good and well that the girl is biracial and claims to be biracial. You guys will sit up here and get mad at black people and black media for oppressing you and tearing you down when you are voluntarily allowing mixed race women and racially ambiguous women to dominate and occupy majority black spaces. How can you have this outrage, okay? How can you sit here and be so gung-ho that this is a black woman, a representation of black women, this, that, and the third, and then in the same breath be hypocritical enough to be upset when you are not represented correctly? It doesn't make a slick of sense to me. At the end of the day, it's still a win for colored girls, okay? That's all that is. It's a win for colored girls, period. Point number 8 is, where was all this hype for Nia Franklin, the actual dark black woman? Where was this hype? Because I have yet to see it. Chrissy made a great point when I watched her video. Where was all of this excitement and this noise for the girl who had the black phenotypes? I don't recall this much upping. I don't recall this much conversation, discussion when she won back in September of 2018. You guys know that this isn't a standard representation of black women. Like, y'all know this, but you just don't want to admit it. But when it was time to actually acknowledge the woman with the black phenotype features, you guys did not, nothing. Silence, crickets. This is my issue with a lot of black people. You're gonna sit here and praise the people who look a little bit different than you, okay? And most of the times can be someone that's of mixed race, but when it comes to your actual own, there's absolutely no recognition whatsoever. It's very hypocritical. Now, number 9 is the physicality debate, and this is probably the deepest part of this entire conversation. Physicality, meaning when you look at something, the physical aspects of it all, the physicality. Y'all, some of y'all grown-ass people at that, who know that somebody is mixed, are for whatever reason in denial of the fact that they have a white composition in them. Just because a mixed race person physically may be dark like you does not exclude them of being made from a white parent and a black parent. You cannot say, well, they look black so they are black, because it is ignorant, it is insensitive, and it's blatantly rude. Like, imagine them saying, oh, you have to be a part of this because your features look like this and that you are dark like this and you fit the mold of whatever people think that you are supposed to be. Do you see how ignorant and dumb that sounds? You cannot base shit off of just looks. You cannot draw that line. You personally cannot do that just because of looks. You cannot. With that logic, and no pun intended, we're gonna use logic as another example. Logic is white. Tiny Tamika Cottle Harris is white. Since we're basing things off of looks, we're gonna consider them white. But we all know that they are both biracial people. Do you see how dumb that sounds? Since we are basing things off of looks and not genetical composition, and since both of my examples are both white passing, let's tell them to neglect their black side and let's tell them that they are white just because of what they physically look like. Oh, that doesn't sound smart. Oh, duh. Now, my 10th and final point is this whole, I guess you could say, justification or the defense of identification. Oh, this person identifies as this, identifies as that. Identification is not based off of race to an extent, okay? I'm gonna identify with being black, let alone being Nigerian, because that is my ethnicity, that is my heritage, that is my nationality pretty much. So that is what I identify with. But let's per se that I am still the same Nigerian, but I'm raised by a white family or adopted into a white family. I will now identify with the cultures of what that family brings into my life, okay? So this excuse drove me nuts. I hated seeing it. I still hate seeing it. It's not an excuse. It's not a defense to me. It's not. If a biracial person identifies as black, that is perfectly fine. I am not saying that they cannot identify as black, okay? I encourage them to identify with whatever makes that individual feel comfortable within their life. Nobody can take that from them. Nobody can alter their experiences that lead them to identify with whatever side that they do. But it is not fair fair to claim them as black when many of them, most of them, do not share the same experiences as many black women do. And that is fucking facts. It is facts. Also, how can someone just choose to be a race after they are born? Make it make sense to me. Like I'm saying, if I, as a black woman, was adopted into a white family, I'm going to identify with them because those are my experiences. That's the experience that I'm around. That is the culture that I'm involved in. Does it make me any less black? No. It's just what I identify with. I feel like identification, what you identify with, is based off of the experiences, the people who raised you, the people that you were around. That's where you draw identity. And let's also not forget that not all mixed race people identify as black. They don't identify with the experiences of being black. Not every one of them do. And don't sit up here and say that everybody does, because a lot of them don't. I personally feel like a lot of mixed race people are looking for people to accept them, or at one point were looking for people to accept them, and had a lot of confusion about their identity. And a lot of them struggle with acceptance, or at one point did struggle with acceptance. But if you were telling them to neglect half of what they are because you're going to just directly claim them as black and not black and white, just because they identify with their black or white side, how can they even go ahead and accept themselves as who they are when we have a whole demographic of people telling them what they are and what they should identify as? I honestly couldn't imagine dealing with that pressure as a mixed race person. Like, that's really unfair and very unfortunate, honestly. Let me tell you why the identity excuse is very hypocritical. You guys acknowledge that there is a side. In order to identify with something, you're identifying with a side. So everyone is acknowledging that there is a side. So by definition, let me read it. If you know and recognize that there are two separate, distinct, and different sides, then how can you sit here and tell them that there are only one of those sides? Gotcha, bitch. Just make it make sense. You know that there are two separate and distinct sides. So how can you tell them that there are only one of those sides when there are two sides? Make it make sense. And then the whole, well, white people still see them as black people. White people are always going to see them as black. Okay, and so what? We should tell mixed people to neglect half of what they are just because some white people try to make them neglect them or try to shun them away from part of what made them? Like, how stupid do we sound? Like, we're just going to sit here and cape and collar them and put them into our own category just because white people push them away? Absolutely not. I feel like we should encourage them to make sure that they're able to claim both sides, able to be a part of both races, able to be whichever they feel that they can identify with. We're not going to just sit here and say, oh, come over to us. We're better. We're more this. We're more that. Just because a side of people push them away. I don't think that that's fair. Have them stand up. Have them fight for the power to be both. When did we start to allow what white people set in stone to be the standard of how we're going to allow people to live by? Like, since when? I thought the whole black power movement and all the stuff that we do was to basically eradicate the whole white supremacist stuff. Like, since when did we do that? So we have to jump to claim them as black just because white people see them as black? Since when did it matter what white people see them as? Why are we holding their supremacist attitudes to what we're going to live by? Like, think about that. Is that right? If you as a black woman have a child with a white man and your child comes out as white passing, are you going to tell your child that he or she should neglect your race, who you are, you being a black woman, just because he or she isn't as dark as you? Like, is that what you're going to tell your child? So if the white people are neglecting what a mixed race person is composed of, how dare we technically kind of do the same thing to them? Like, are black people really that ignorant? Like, are we falling for that? Is that the new wave? I really hope not. I just really hope that we get it together and we can understand that mixed race people can identify with anything that they want. Same way me, I can identify as anything I want for real. It is a personal choice based off of my experiences. It doesn't really have to go down and reflect off of the color of my skin. More times than not, it's going to, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Identification with something is not based off of your genetical composition. It's based off of your experiences and how you are raised within your life. That's how people end up being who they are and believing in what they believe in. So those are all 10 of my points, but I did also wanted to read you some of the comments that I saw that kind of supported some of the things that I did say. And one of those things, it says, some mixed women don't identify as black and only use it when it's convenient. If we're going to call them black, then don't get mad when they are chosen to play a black female role in a Hollywood film, such as Idea being originally selected to play Aaliyah in the Lifetime biopic, or Simone Biles saying that she would want Zendaya to play her in the biopic, or Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone in that one movie. We know what the majority of black women look like. Yes, there are mixed women who blend right in. There are also Afro-Latinas that blend right in. There are Indian women that can blend right in, all because of skin shade. But be real. When you see a mixed person of a typical or common mixed phenotypical look, you know the difference. We need to stop contributing to the erasure. If we keep doing that, pretty soon they'll use these women to represent us in the media when 99% of black women do not look like that. That is completely true. I agree. I agree to that. Another comment was, it is such an anti-black message. A biracial rocking her curly texturized hair in a fro is supposed to be groundbreaking for black women when most of our hair textures don't look like that. So it's through biracial women's phenotype that we get to be celebrated? I can't. And I also agree with that. And then I also wanted to read you guys some of the comments that I wrote on my Instagram page a couple weeks ago. So this was pretty much like my initial reaction to when I saw everything. So I put on Instagram, hate to be that one, but 2 of these 3 girls are not black. Biracial people are not black or white. They are biracial. They are black and white. I'm down to debate and argue, so hit my DM if you want. And I had a couple people come in my DM, but most people did agree with me. I said, like, congrats to all these ladies, but let's call a spade a spade. Do not hit me with that, well, this is what they identify with, because that means nothing. Biracial people should be able to identify as both races if they choose. So we can rename this to Colored Girl Magic, which I agree, this should be Colored Girl Magic, because what y'all won't do is claim non-black women when it's convenient for you. Black people big up and promote people outside of their race and people who don't phenotypically look like them all the time, but then complain about misrepresentation. I could go on, and I did. Someone then commented to me and said they should be able to identify as both, but white America has always called them black. And I said, the same way white Americans stripped Africans of their culture when they became slaves and forced them to assimilate is the same way they one-drop rule biracial people to try to exile them from sharing white heritage and being half white. I think mixed race people should be allowed to embrace both cultures and heritage, or at least acknowledge that they can be both. Yeah, you may identify with one or more than the other, but don't shun or neglect one side of you because of the white man's racial divide. So then someone said, duality is real, people just aren't ready for that conversation. I said, they're really not ready, sis. Someone also said, I feel like black spaces are often taken up by mixed people, which isn't fair. I said, to me, it's not fair. Black people like to claim everybody, and yes, black comes in all different shades, looks, and nationalities, but we have to be fair and allow people who share both races to do that. I did research on all of the candidates, and 2 biracial winners hang out with white friends mostly and only seem to identify with their white side more and even look white passing in a lot of their pictures, especially with their hair straightened. Someone said mixed people cannot and do not represent all black people, yet they are most promoted. And I said I also agree to that. And then you see the phenotypically looking black women are the first ones to be outraged when they are considered the lower demographic of quote-unquote black beauty, all because we uplifted and labeled someone who is half black as full or majority black. It never fails. And then when dark-skinned black men bash and disrespect their black women for being black and having the majority of standard black features and choosing these racially ambiguous girls over us, black women want to be mad and scream colorism and bias. Like, you can't keep promoting someone that isn't you as a representation of you and then get mad when you are selected last or deemed unattractive. Promote yourself and your own beauty too, so they can do that as well. And then someone did ask me, so do you refer to President Obama as the first interracial president? I'm just really curious. So I said, I'm gonna be honest, when he was elected into office, I was only 10 years old, so I was ignorant to race relations and such, so he was the first black president to me. Ever since like last year, when I really started to research and study this stuff, Obama is the first interracial president to me, but I allow people to be great and say he is the first black president because that is still a big step and an accomplishment for colored people everywhere regardless. I call him my cultured and colored president, LOL. Someone did tell me we're quick to claim them as black, but do these ladies claim to be black? And I said the crazy thing is they don't claim to be black, which I showed you Kayleigh clearly said that she was not. And I said this is why doing your research is key. When it comes to stuff like this, I look up everything, which I really do. So I continued on to just basically state my opinions about it. And my video here is not to offend or not to take away the accomplishments of any of these women. People really did try to come for me and say that was my intentions, but it's not. My intentions is to make sure that you guys understand the distinction of how people portray black, mixed race, how people portray colored women, how the media is going to promote what they think the idealistic beauty of black is. When yes, black can come in so many different shades, but when you are genetically, biologically black and white, you are just mixed race, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like mixed race people should be able to embrace both, even if you don't identify. Let's say you grew up with an absent parent and you really only identify with your black or white side. I'm not saying that that makes you less of something. I don't feel like mixed race women who look not like the phenotypically black women can represent represent what most black women or the average black woman looks like, is going through the struggles and all of that. I'm not making this video to bash or hurt anybody's feelings. It is also kind of my opinion, but I feel like facts are facts when we're talking about biology and genetics. Like, you cannot, DNA does not lie. So I am finally done. I want to know what you guys think about this situation. What are your thoughts? How did you react to seeing that post? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let's all be respectful because I'm trying to be nice here, okay? Trying not to push on anybody's buttons. I tried to say it as nicely as possible. Do not forget to check the description box down below for our sponsor here, you know. Deep Huevo. They're looking real fresh and nice. Hey, they paid me a lot of money to promote this hair, so go buy it. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.